Hello, hello, everyone. I hope most of you are already here. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about two planets shifting signs for a long period of time. So this is a lot for us to cover. But I wanted to make sure that I get to cover both planets. So that's why I put them both into the forum today. So let's take a look at, let me just put the chat window down here for a moment. So let's take a look at what we're going to be talking about today. So how many of you have an Aquarius sun sign or rising sign? Okay, Mary Beth, excellent. Very good. Anybody else? Actually, let me put the chat window back up so I can see. Mariana has one. Okay, fantastic. Hi, Didi. Hi. Okay, Pam has a descendant. Very good. Okay, that counts. Okay. Megan has you have an ascendant, right? Yeah, ascendant. Very good. Bear has the moon in Aquarius. Okay, excellent. So the reason why I'm asking about Aquarius is because, of course, Uranus, right, rules Aquarius. So as we're talking about Uranus moving into a new sign, for all of you who have a dominant chart with dominant Aquarius somewhere, you're going to feel that. You're going to feel that shift pretty drastically. Now, how many of you have any planets or points like the ascendant or the career point or the descendant or anything like that in Aries or Taurus? So, and the reason, of course, why I'm asking that is because Chiron in Aries, Uranus in Taurus, right? So if we have any planets or points in those signs, at some point during that transit, we're gonna get an exact hit from that, right? So Bear has the North Node. Very good. Mary Beth has the ascendant in Taurus. Okay, Mariana has planets in Taurus. I have the sun in Taurus. Woo-hoo. Mercury in Taurus. I have stuff in Aries as well. Okay, great. 11 degrees south node Taurus. Okay, great. Very good, guys. Okay, so you definitely pay attention for all of you who have that. So before we get started, I just want to thank you for your time, for being here with me, for all of you who are here live. Awesome. I love you guys. I love that you're here live. For all of you who are watching as a recording, I'm sorry you weren't able to do the live time, but I'm glad that you're watching this as a recording, so thank you for your time. Anyways, we might go over a little bit today since we have so much to cover, so hopefully all of you can stay for a little bit longer than 90 minutes. If you can't, feel free to watch the rest of the webinar as from the recording, right? Now, a little bit about myself. For those of you who are newcomers who haven't been on the webinar yet, I just want to say I'm originally from Austria, from Vienna, and I've lived in the United States since 1994. And so I've been here for quite a long time. So my English is pretty good, but once in a while I say funny things and I will pronounce things a little bit weirdly. So please forgive that. I also have weird things that I say, like at the end of a sentence, I'll be like, right. And so a lot of you have been pointing that out to me in my videos. So I just want to say that's sort of like a little bit of an Austrian thing, right? Right? That's what we say. So anyways, enough about me. Let's talk about the webinar and let's see what's going on today. Of course, Chiron just moved into Aries. Uranus is going to move into Taurus on May 15th. So what does that all mean for all of us, right? Because we want to know, how does this impact us personally? And we're going to look at just that. Now, because we're going to be covering so much today, I would like to keep questions to a minimum, and I will answer questions at the end of the webinar just so that I can get through everything that I want to share today. So, for example, some of the things that we'll be covering today is like, what will this shift with Chiron and Aries mean for our healing process, right? Because Chiron is about our wounds, our childhood wounds, our wounds from our ancestors. So what does that mean for us in terms of our healing process individually and collectively, right? So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then what changes can we expect with a push for progress in regards to Uranus moving through Taurus, right? Because Taurus is not a big sign for progress, right? So what can we expect here? So that's something we're going to be covering as well. And then also, of course, we go into our own birth charts more in detail as well. And we're going to look to see where does Aries and Taurus show up in our own birth charts. So hopefully everyone has their own birth charts handy and have it printed out or have it on your computer or have it somehow so visible so you can compare what I'm going to be talking about with your own chart. And then also, do you have personal planets in 0 to 4 degrees of Aries or Taurus? And the reason why we'll talk about that is because the first push into Aries and into Taurus that Chiron and Uranus are making will be between 0 and 2.5 degrees. And so if we have planets between 0 and 4 degrees, those are the planets that will be most impacted by that first push into these new signs, right? And also, of course, Chiron and Uranus are both planets that don't switch signs that frequently, depending on where they're at. So Chiron being at the point where it's taking a little bit longer to move through the signs is now taking between 7 and 8 years to move through a sign. So that's quite a long time. And Uranus also takes about 7 to 8 years to move through a sign. So we can see from that we're going to be with these planets in those signs for quite a long time. And I'll talk more in detail about that later as well. Now, what houses are going to be impacted in our own birth charts by these planetary shifts, right? Because each of us has Uranus, has Aries and Taurus in different parts of the chart, which means that different parts, different areas of our lives are going to be impacted by these transits. And so that's something we're going to take a look at for each one of us, okay? Now, I'm not going to be able to pull up people's birth charts, but if you are already a client of mine, I have your chart. If you've sent it to me already via email before the forum, I have your chart. And if not, then for next time, feel free to send me your chart via email if you're not a client yet, or if you are not a student, or if you're not, if you haven't sent it to me yet, feel free to do that for the next forum. If you are a member, especially, or if you want to join next time around as well. All right, so I also like to focus the questions for the things that we're going to be covering this month, because this is so important what we're covering today that I would like to focus our questions on that, if that's okay with you guys, okay? I think that's most beneficial for everybody. All right, so let's jump right in. So one of the things that you guys have as a handout is this overview for 2018. And one of the things that this overview does for us is it kind of gives us a little bit of the ability to see what's going on every month, and sort of like an overview. So the things that we're going to be focusing on today is, of course, this Chiron journey into Aries from April 17th until September 25th. Between 0 and 2.5 degrees of Aries. That's the first pass into Aries. Then it will move back into Pisces for a little bit, but then it will move back into Aries February of 2019, and it will stay there until 2026, where it will make a short pass into Taurus, and then it will be again in Aries from September 2026 until April 2027. So you can see this is really going to be a long transit with Chiron being in Aries, right? So we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then the other thing we'll cover today is the down here on up. I need to scroll up. Sorry about that. So in May, on May 15th, you can see here there's going to be a new moon, right? And then right after this new moon, Uranus is going to move into Taurus on May 15th until November 6th of this year, also between 0 and 2.5 degrees of Taurus this time. And then it will be... and then it will move back into Taurus March 6, 2019, and it will stay in Taurus until April 26th of 2026. So again, you can see how both of these planets are really staying in these two signs for a nice and long time. So we will be, you know, needing to deal with the energies as they're unfolding for us, and what that all means for us, right? So one of the things that I did want to mention here in the overview, because of what we're be covering in next month, next month we're gonna talk about the Mars station and retrograde phase. And so I just wanted to briefly mention that Mars will enter its shadow phase on May 12th of this month at 28.5 degrees of Capricorn. And that means that whatever Mars is experiencing from May 12th on is something that we may have to go over again during the retrograde phase in June, July, and August, okay? So, so that's something to just keep in mind. All right, so let's jump right in. So the first thing I want us to take a look at is, you know, if we look at the chart of Uranus moving into Taurus, which will be on May 15th, we can also see here that Chiron is already in 1 degree and 21 minutes of Aries here. So we can see here how, you know, at the time of the entry of Uranus into Taurus, there's a lot of energy in Taurus, right? We have the moon, the sun, because there was just a new moon. Then we have Mercury in Taurus. We have the career point in Taurus, if we're looking at a chart from New York, Eastern time chart. And then we have Uranus right on the top of the chart here, actually. So, because it's right conjunct the career point. So there's going to be definitely, with Uranus moving into Taurus, this will be a time where we're really needing to bring some new and fresh energy to the Taurus qualities. And of course, what does Taurus cover? I just want to say thank you so much for those of you who have already joined my online community. And I just want to say welcome. And I'm just so excited to have you be part of this. I think this is going to be really amazing. The more people join, the more we can start interacting with each other. And I know this forum has been a little bit different in format only because I wanted to cover as much as possible about Chiron and about Uranus. So I hope you guys understand. But moving forward, I will, you know, I will try to make things more interactive from the beginning, so you guys can chat with each other and chat with me, and so I can answer questions as we go. Okay. Now, one thing I want to mention one more time is the Chiron workshop. I think I already mentioned it, but I just want to say, for those of you who are members already, you do have access to that workshop. If you're not a member at all, you would have to become a member to have access to that workshop. That workshop is only available to members. So if you're not a member yet, feel free to sign up for the universal membership, and then you'll have access to this workshop within, if you sign up for the monthly universal membership within the next 3 months, and if you sign up for the yearly membership, universal yearly membership, you have access to it right away. And every other member has access to it right away as well. Okay, and then I also still want to mention the article about Chiron in Aries. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend reading that, because the article has a lot of details about Chiron in Aries that are probably going to be very helpful for you to read about. I mean, we covered most of it today, but there might be some things that I forgot to mention. All right, so feel free to read that. And then before we go into the Q&A, I also want to mention the next forecasting forum. We will talk about Mars in great detail. And of course, Mars is also connected to the Chiron energy, because Chiron is in Aries right now, right? So with Mars stationing and going retrograde, we're going to kind of like get to explore Mars in a very different way, you know, from the inside out, basically, during the retrograde phase. And this will happen in Aquarius to begin with, and then it also retrogrades back into Capricorn. And all of this will take place between June and August. And Mars will already start to enter its shadow phase in May 12th. So you know, we will start to see what needs to be addressed from May 12th on. And then in June, in the end of June, when Mars goes retrograde, we can start to address some of the things that we've explored during the shadow phase. And then during the retrograde phase, we're getting to really redo a couple of things and reinvestigate how we're moving with that masculine energy that we have in our chart natally, and that we have, you know, transiting in our chart and those areas of life. So we take a look at all of that in more detail, okay? Now, the webinar will be on Thursday, May 31st, so pretty much a month from now, at 7 p.m. New York time, at 4 p.m. Pacific time, and midnight London time. So I'm sorry for you guys that it's so late in Europe, but if you're not able to join live because you're in Europe and it's a little bit too late for you, then feel free to just connect via the MP4 video recording, video presentation, okay? Now, the regular fee for the forums is always $37. But if you join as a star member, that reduces it back to $27. Plus, as a star member, you get lots of other goodies as well, which you can check out in that handout that I attached to the email, so you can see what you get for star membership. So it's a really great deal in the end. But if you don't want to become a member and you just want to join once in a while for the things that you're interested in, then definitely join via the regular fee, which is $37. And you also get the Chiron article with that video presentation and all the handouts that I've been talking about as well. Okay? All right. Have a good one. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you all, and I will hopefully see you again on May 31st. Okay? Bye, guys. Have a good one.